man. Education is elevation, and it's the DEI industry dying. If we being frank, the industry was always already an uphill battle. We acknowledge that legislation initiatives like affirmative action or different civil rights acts can be wrapped into thinking about diversity and inclusion. I think that last year when the Supreme Court was able to overturn affirmative action as being unconstitutional or as being this subtle form of discrimination, to me I think that it began the material deterioration of DEI as a whole. When I was in grad school, I went to the University of Oklahoma. I got a degree in HR, master's degree in HR, human relations. And one of my professors told me while I was doing the HR degree, I got two master's degrees, the other one, the adult education, but this HR degree, my professor told me that she believed I shouldn't apply for a DEI position because they expire like milk. She told me that in probably 2016. Now, less than 10 years later, we see that there are political, social, economic targets against diversity, inclusion, and equity efforts, as well as a demonization of it on the federal level, state levels, and the local levels. Here in Texas, I can acknowledge that the Governor Greg Abbott made it hard for all K through 12 and higher education institutions to be able to operate off of diversity and inclusion initiatives, whether it come from hiring or admissions or just actually talking about it in itself. Another thing that's on my mind as I talk about diversity and inclusion, it's important to point out, especially for the individuals that has just come across my channel, that's just come across my page, that's just becoming familiar with the old Conscious League, man. I'm not just some fast talking guy off the internet that loves to talk about, you feel me, identity and power and domination, though I do love those things and I do talk very fastly. You see what I'm saying? I know a lot of times because we're not used to being exposed to different type of expressions, we tend to correlate those expressions from what we know. You feel me? To be clear, disclaimer, I'm talking about right now diversity, equity, and inclusion because that's what I went to school. That's what my training is in. You see what I'm saying? When I'm talking about misogyny or patriarchy, I'm not looking to be perceived as a relationship guru. You see what I'm saying? Or a relationship expert. You know what I mean? I'm no Derek Jackson. I'm no Kevin Samuels. Like, that's not what my work lies in. My work lies in being able to come up with political, social, economic analysis for how identity is positioned, whether we're talking about race, gender, class, ability, sexuality, or whatever we're talking about. This idea that an individual is pushing a particular agenda, to me, it shows that you're just coming across my platform and you're not familiar with my advocacy. You see what I'm saying? I'm 33 years old right now. Since my teenage years, I've always made intersectional analysis about how power is intersected and interconnected with race, class, gender, ability, sexuality, all of that. And as a cisgender straight Black man, I've never been, you feel me, the type of person that is going to allow for other individuals' perceptions to dictate of what I do too much. You see what I'm saying? Can I be influenced? Yeah, but the idea that because Cat Williams has now talked about, some dresses and things like that, we have a lot of individuals really engaging in what I'm going to identify as, some hyper masculine dialogue that is able to create material and rhetorical violence for individuals that decide to deviate outside of the norm that we're given in terms of masculinity, which takes me back to the question of, is DEI dying? I acknowledge that there was some buy-in from the leaders of different industries across, you feel me, the market, whether we're talking about, engineering, whether we're talking about education, whether we're talking about the tech industry, we can acknowledge that all these industries made different moves to create structurally positions of DEI within those industries. We can acknowledge, however, though, that the energy that was developed during 2020 and 2021, the amount of racial guilt, you feel me, that was up there, and the amount of compassion that was up there. I think that people then got tired and exhausted. Kind of what's happening with the Palestine right now. A lot of individuals last month, we was all rah about it. Now we starting to get tired, starting to work down on us. To me, DEI kind of can be illustrated in different ways, kind of very similar, because we see that there was a time that everybody was on their DEI high. You feel me? Everybody was being DEI warriors. You see what I'm saying? Now that you have different industries and different leaders within industries saying that, you know, DEI is bad or it's discriminatory, you see that you have a lot of individuals that really put blood, sweat, and tears into going to school for diversity and inclusion things. And now they are trying to figure out what's going on. Myself being one of those individuals, at least partially, because I acknowledge that a lot of my teachings, a lot of my framework, a lot of my workshops, facilitations are done from the framework of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, I might do it in a different flavorful way that's always questioning what we're including ourselves into and always questioning what are our notions of diversity mean and what that means, especially for Black folks, which brings me to another little separate rant again. To the people on Facebook uniquely, when we start talking about the Black community and the Black family and all this or whatever, why do y'all be so intentional of excluding particular types of Black bodies from the Black family? You see what I'm saying? And I find this being very unique to Facebook because it seemed like, I don't know if the people that find my page on Facebook, you feel me, be anti-book, you know, you found me on Facebook, or if you feel me, just so lost in the sauce to Western ideas that you believe those Western ideas are the ideas of your ancestors, and that's just bogus. That's just crazy to me. Which brings me to another point about diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI was starting to force a different narrative about history and about how different structures and institutions have been allowing individuals to be included into those. And I think that because it was forcing the youth and a lot of us younger adults to you know what I'm saying, look at different narratives throughout history, you know what I'm saying, in a different light, and making it where you put different historical figures in a different light. I think that made it where individuals start feeling like diversity and inclusion is an attack on America. It's an attack on white, cisgender, middle-class Christian males. And the thing I just said, you know, when you think about people who are positions of power, those identities align more with those positions of power. In 2021, maybe the racial guilt was high. You see what I'm saying? Maybe the efforts to make sure that we make sure the colors feel comfortable and felt like they're being included was high. Now they don't care about that, and it's back to business. You see what I'm saying? So we see that, you know, what is it? It's the owner or CEO of Lululemon made comments about DEI. We see Elon Musk making comments about DEI. We see all these comments they're making about DEI are those that devalue the people in the industry and the industry as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And hey, you know, I don't know Jesus Menezes. I don't know the point you're trying to make. Miss Donnie says I had a DEI position in college. The state is legislating that those positions cease to exist. Most definitely. What I know is that from a pro-Black standpoint, every time Black progression happens, it's always met with white backlash. And what we find is that once more people of color, specifically Black folks, were starting to take advantage of different diversity and initiative, you know what I'm saying, efforts, and made it where the representation of Black people was more in different classrooms or in different industries, it started making individuals feel like the mere presence of those Black bodies were a threat to their existence and a threat, you feel me, to their, you know what I'm saying, mobility. I think that when some people view equality like pie, you feel like anytime somebody else is getting some equality, it's less pieces of pie that you can get, or it's less equality that you can get. You see what I'm saying? I think that is been one of the ways that specifically conservatives has been able to fuel this assassination on DEI through the ideas of culture wars. Anything they start talking about socialism or communism, anytime they start talking about some feminism, anytime they start talking about some wokeness or this, that, and the other, the reason why I made this little, I think that there are times that individuals believe more in the Illuminati than they do intersectionality, and that's the reason why you're so easily duped into buying into different policies or efforts that's really anti-you. You feel me? But you can get your ego and your emotions wrapped around some archaic idea about traditions and old school, and it's like your ancestors didn't agree with that, or your people that's right now are literally being impacted by them saying DEI is bad, or by them saying, you know, wokeness is bad. It's like, hey, there's ways that language gets inscribed on the people, and it's like, man, it's like, don't do that shit. You feel me? Like, we shouldn't do that, man. What's up, Damo? We have the throne and they, I don't know what that means. Yeah, it's like that. Some people just don't like the idea of smart niggas. I agree. I think that from an intersectional standpoint, especially understanding DEI, I think that once black people, and especially the individuals that identify as niggas, capital N, started to feel more empowered and start being able to get more articulate with how we're able to call and to question different things and speak truth to power, it made different individuals feel like they was being even more threatened. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope y'all feeling good on this wonderful Monday morning. DEI is dying. DEI has always already been an uphill battle. We know that affirmative action, policies and different, civil rights acts and different, I would argue that all of those are wrapped into DEI initiatives and DEI efforts. You see what I'm saying? And once Supreme Court was able to overturn affirmative action, I think that it was already a battle going on, but I think that there was one significant battle that allowed for politically, socially, economically for DEI to start to deteriorate and start to be devalued. I think it's one of the reasons why my professor in grad school, when I was when I was getting my master's in HR, told me that I shouldn't get a DEI position, that I should only do DEI and consulting. I'm glad I took her advice and never really put my career on the idea of me trying to get these different DEI positions, because I knew that because there is no way, well, actually, I'll say it like this. Most institutions that need the most diversity initiatives and need the most diversity, equity, inclusion efforts are usually the ones that's the most illiterate when it comes to sexuality, gender, and race. And as a result, they don't even have good ruler sticks to be able to measure how these DEI efforts go. When I was at the university I was at, and when I seen what's going around other universities, is that multiple of the DEI positions, whether it was a vice president or a president of diversity and inclusion or director of diversity and inclusion, they damn near was being turned out the same way the students was, in terms of like every 3 to 4 years, we got a new class of students coming in. Every 3 to 4 years, we was getting new DEI directors, new DEI presidents, because the universities and institutions, there were multiple prerequisites that need to be had. And because they didn't have those, you see what I'm saying? It made it where a lot of the efforts were done very lazy, like, or done in a way that almost perpetuate the issues said have to be done. I know at the university I was at, shit, man, they might have, you feel me, the vice president was supposed to be over diversity and inclusion, 2 years, a new one. Another 2 years, a new one. And I think that started to impact the industry as a whole. But I also think that the reason why is not because of the industry itself, but because it started to kind of, it was already uphill battle. Trying to get individuals to value folks' labor the same way you value the able-bodied white man was always an uphill battle. Trying to get access into classrooms or trying to get access into different jobs was always an uphill battle. When we start talking about diversity, is really thinking about how you can have difference just based in presence. You feel me? The inclusion part is being able to be invited to a party, and the difference between being invited to dance and not being invited to dance. That's the inclusion part. You feel me? The equity part was, I think that while our country was thinking about diversity and equity and, you know what I'm saying, good white people can pat themselves on the back, we only thought about diversity and inclusion just from those two words, diversity and inclusion. The equity part wasn't really brought in. The more we started to get purposeful about explaining what we mean by equity, I think the more that people in power started feeling like DEI is targeting them. Or you get you would get old white men or middle-aged white men saying, yeah, DEI is discriminatory against me because y'all describe my race, my class, my gender, my sexuality consistently as being something that is oppressive, that hurts my feelings, that makes me feel bad, or it makes me feel like I'm unwanted. The same individuals that saying we don't care about your feelings and your emotions is the same individuals that can take their feelings and their emotions and mobilize it into policies that target entire industries that say, hey, man, ain't no diversity and inclusion going on at this university at all. Ain't no diversity and inclusion going on at this business at all. I don't give a damn whether you're thinking about how you hire professors or how you hire staff and faculty, or you thinking about how you admit and enroll students, or you thinking about how you give certain individuals raises. If you do it from a framework of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think that it is discriminatory to white people. And as Miss Donnie has said, yes, reverse racism tropes that have been successfully deployed in 2023 going into 2024. Successful reverse racism tropes. Not only successful reverse racism tropes, but also reverse sexism tropes. Because we see that those white men are still able to say, hey, listen, man, the way that y'all talk about gender empowerment, the way that y'all talk about gender equality, the way that y'all talk about how different women and women of color make less cents on the dollar than white men, we find that to be discriminatory against us. How dare y'all pull out the receipts and studies for how much we devalue y'all labor? The way y'all talking about that makes me feel this way, so I'm not gonna do it no more. And that's the reason why I think DEI is being targeted. And it's like, can it be resuscitated? Yeah, but is it dying right now? Yes. I think that in order for us to move forward, we have to deal with the reality that we in a real life way. You feel me? And if we, what I'm saying, are ignoring that the house, remember that, I'm talking like we all seen that meme with the cartoon character that's sitting at a bench and he's smiling, eating food. And the meme is like, this is me acting like everything is okay, but everything is in fire around them. I feel like if you believe in equity or diversity, inclusion, equality, liberation, Black people, white people, Mexican people, Latino, if you believe in any type of notion of diversity, you should be really real with yourself about what's going on right now, and about how not only you gonna be impacted, but about how people that you love and care about, how they're gonna be impacted. Because this right now, the attacks on DEI is going to allow to take it back to what we're going to and make America great again. And I think that the current attacks on DEI is why a lot of individuals have become pessimistic when it comes to the civic engagement and the process of civic engagement in this country. If we can acknowledge that all of us got our ass to the polls and made sure we voted Donald Trump out of office and got Biden into office, and we still see that irregardless of who is the commander in chief, there are other separations of power, other offices that have the ability to impact affirmative action, abortion, genocide. It makes us feel like, well, shit, the way in which y'all taught me how this country is supposed to operate should never allow individuals to even have the power or jurisdiction to do what is happening, to do what's being done. When you think about the idea that America is always already talked about, I'm gonna say always already. More recently, it's talked about and celebrated being a country of immigrants. You know what I'm saying? We can acknowledge how that's always been contradictory, or it's like immigration for whom or immigration to whom. Because right now, DEI and the targeting of DEI is being used and weaponized against immigrants and against undocumented populations. We also acknowledge that DEI, the targeting of DEI, is literally impacting how we teach people in the classroom about racism, white supremacy, anti-Blackness, about, you feel me, the institutional and structural and systemic ways that white folks or white people and non-Black people have been able to do things to Black folks. And apparently it's like when we're taking down statues, the argument is that we care about real history, we shouldn't change real history, and this, that, and the other. But on the legislation side, it's like, yeah, we're changing history right now. You feel me? Black people were they enjoyed slavery and shit. They were so primitive in Africa that they didn't even have any way to wipe their ass to feed themselves. So European enslavement of Africans was able to teach you civilization and teach you a lot of portable skills that you didn't even have. As if the Gullah Geechee people, you feel me, didn't already have these a high level of, you feel me, agriculture. You know what I'm saying? To me, it shows that like the quote unquote culture wars is kind of what's going on right now, and why I'm such a big advocate of intersectionality, which is why I get so annoyed when I make arguments about, or I make analysis, arguments, lessons, or points about being inclusive to Black queer, Black trans, Black dress wearing niggas, and then individuals start talking about pushing an agenda. To me, it's like you're lost in the sauce and believing that Western constructs of gender and sexuality are that of you, and you don't recognize that the same individuals that bought the constructs and bought the ideas that you believe in so heavily about gender and sexuality is also the ones that literally via whipping slave told you wasn't human. You see what I'm saying? So when you start thinking about, hey man, I say education's elevation, the same people that rock with me because I can give an amazing analysis on how race operates used to be the same people that want to put the Illuminati or put some gay witch doctor on me because I'm making an argument about, you feel me, or an analysis or a point about, hey man, so if that man got on a dress and that man don't got on a dress, they both mean. You see what I'm saying? So when I start pulling up pictures and pulling up different artifacts of, hey, this right here is a traditional African man wearing what we would call out west a big ass dress. Here is right here another artifact of historically and contemporarily this West African and this East African where we would call a skirt with some pants on. You feel me? Y'all get so lost in the sauce and thinking about, hey, a person's gender is wrapped into what they wearing. But you call individuals shallow, or you call individuals lazy, or you call individuals dumb. And it's like, okay, so what you're saying is that if this man wears a dress, his gender and his integrity is called into question in its entirety. Who taught you this narrative? The same individuals that's targeting DEI is the same individuals that really spoon feed you this narrative about the Illuminati and about selling your soul and about, man, wearing dresses and about Hollywood type shit. You see what I'm saying? To me, it's like as a black man that looks to always already want to express themselves very transparently and real, it's like, okay, so how come the white man get transcendence to be able to be a man and do whatever they want to do, and that's what they get? But a black man got to be always stuck in this rigid confines of expressing a manhood and masculinity. If you don't, you Illuminati, you the devil. It's like, what are we doing here? You see what I'm saying? And especially because I can acknowledge the same individuals that get lobbyists and bureaucracies and interest groups to get them millions and millions of dollars to push policy that make it where black children can't learn black history, or the same ones that push policy that say, hey man, every university in the state of Texas cannot practice DEI, is the same individuals that gave y'all these conspiracy frameworks about the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? And my motto is research over me search. So it's like when I say Illuminati, especially when we talk about it in 2024, individuals was much rather believe in selling your soul to the devil, secret societies, than really being able to call out the white supremacist capitalist patriarchy that's going on. You see what I'm saying? To me, it's like, hey, they say words is more important because words have meaning. You see what I'm saying? That's what they say. Words have meaning. Words mean things. For me, when a person evokes dialogue around Illuminati, I think about it being some fictional Dungeons and Dragons, blood Baphomet sacrifices of the secret society of white men running the world. And it's like, it ain't no secret. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like it's better for us to be able to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner if we can really name what is happening to us, name what is going on. It's like, hey man, I'd rather tell you about colonialism and white supremacy than tell you some 2006 YouTube conspiracy theory about the Illuminati. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, what are we doing right here? What are we doing right here? You feel me? And to be clear right here, right? You know what I'm saying? This the you know, the Illuminati is the name. Oh man, we got them Amber Alert. In Texas, we get Amber Alert. I feel like somebody living in Houston, I get an Amber Alert like twice a week. You feel me? I'm talking about they be abducted children around this mother. But the Illuminati is a name that's been associated with various conspiracy theories and secret societies throughout history. The original Bavarian Illuminati was a secret society founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, a professor in Germany. The goals of this group was to promote Enlightenment ideas such as rational thought, freedom, and equality, and work towards an abolition of religious and political authority. However, the Bavarian Illuminati disbanded in the late 18th century and its influence waned. In modern times, the term Illuminati has been used to refer to an alleged secretive and powerful elite group that controls world events, governments, and financial systems. This concept gained popularity through conspiracy theories, books, movies, although there is little evidence to support such claims. When we start talking about the way in which the world operates and who gets what, when, where, and how, I think it's something powerful about being able to name, define the phenomenon, and make it act in a desired manner. So if you're using this very fictional language or something that was disbanded a couple hundred years ago, it mystifies, it obfuscates. You see what I'm saying? It makes it hard for us to identify what's actually going on, what's actually happening. You see what I'm saying? If I can tell you, you feel me, that intersectionally we should think about identity based off race, class, gender, ability, sexuality, and you have this Illuminati-like idea anytime we evoke sexuality and gender outside of the Western constructs, it's like, I don't know how we can have a conversation and move forward. You see what I'm saying? I don't know how we can have a conversation and move forward, especially when you have grown individuals. I'm talking about you've been an adult for goddamn 10, 20, 30 years. You feel me? I ain't talking about like a young adult. You've been an adult for at least a decade. I don't understand how you haven't advanced from middle school, elementary like ideas about gender and sexuality, especially when you're so invested in other people's sexuality and gender. When we ask this question, is DEI dying? I would argue that once the people in power were able to successfully dupe individuals into believing that womanhood was being attacked by trans women and not the Constitution or not the Supreme Court itself, I knew they won, or I knew they was winning. You see what I'm saying? And I think that like we talk about the attack on DEI, and once they say, hey, the reason why they allow for them drag queens to read to your kids during story hour is because of DEI. It's because of inclusion and saying we got to have more inclusive representations of gender, the fluidity of gender, having more. That's what they come from. So then once you had individuals believing, man, I don't know, man, they pushing on the kids now, man. That was the literal, like we say, you need constituent buy-in sometimes to be able to push policy. A lot of the policies that's being pushed right now came from individuals that got duped, especially in 2020. You feel me? I really believe that there was bugs planted. You feel me? Damn near like this conspiracy theory. I believe you want to believe conspiracy theories talk about Illuminati. Hey, then 2020 and 2021, all that camaraderie amongst black people, you feel me, that had increased regardless of class, regardless of gender, regardless of sexuality. The people in power didn't like that shit. Who started to push this idea of gender wars? And that the biggest threat to the black community is them trying to attack children and make them gay. While they telling you that we should be focused on the rainbow community for attacking black children, they were actually passing legislation attacking black children. Affirmative action being overturned is going to impact not only the market, but also the educational and who gets space in education when it comes to getting to the market. So we can say, hey, man, the diversity inclusion thing is going too far. It's going too, you know what I'm saying? Y'all took it too far. I don't want my children to learn about different diverse identities when it comes to gender. I believe in Adam and Eve, and that's Adam and Eve, and that is it. So fuck diversity and inclusion because it is attacking my religion. It's attacking me as a parent. That's literally a narrative that was constructed by alt-right conservatives in the status quo right now. So when you ask the question, is DEI dying? It's almost a better question to ask. What have we done, or what do you believe in that has perpetuated the attack, the ongoing attack on DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, and acknowledging that, you know, I think Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw, shout out to you, Jerry. Appreciate that. Keep it the great work. Your voice and perspective is valuable. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. When Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw coined this word intersectionality about how different institutions and the systems of oppression intersect and collide, it gave us a better way of being able to talk about diversity and inclusion. Once there was enough amount of able-bodied cisgender white men to talk about how they felt attacked by DEI efforts, that was it. That was it. Popping cranium. I know I got a few people from ADOS that follow me. I've had a conversation with a few people from ADOS, but I recognize that 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 the entire organization of ADOS is so big and so varying across ideologies and beliefs that I really don't be knowing how to place and where to place ADOS. You feel me? I am a descendant of, you know what I'm saying, African slaves here in America. You feel me? But this conversation I'm having right now about intersectionality, what I find is that a lot of the organizations that I want to work with, they typically have one way that they wane that I don't agree with, right? So for me, it's like if I get into an organization that's about blackness and black people, I want to know like how do you account for black disabled people, black queer people, black trans people? You see what I'm saying? And when I start talking using that verbiage, it usually turns off a lot of organizations that center around, you feel me, that type of pro-blackness. You see what I'm saying? Like I identify as being Pan-African as well, but I think that my Pan-Africanism is a new school, some new school shit. You see what I'm saying? I don't buy into those old archaic macho masculinity ways of saying that the black man has to perform their masculinity this way, or they ain't being like, I don't believe in that. You see what I'm saying? So are you being biased to the black community or trying to spread awareness of solutions in the black community? Calvin, I would have to ask a follow-up question. 'Cause I don't know what you mean. Like to answer, like, well, I think you're asking, like, no, I mean, biased to the black community. I don't know, like, I don't think so. Maybe being biased for the black community, 'cause I'm putting black first, right? Maybe. But definitely trying to spread awareness and spread awareness specifically on how current efforts of DEI is going to impact what type of education your child gets right now and moving forward, what type of opportunities you get right now and moving forward, and acknowledging that even when you think that you being on the most wokest, pro-blackest thing, you know what I'm saying? And man, they trying to force it on the children. It's like, yeah, your narrative about you being uncomfortable because your child learned the ABCs from, you feel me, a trans woman. that fear is being folded into attacking DEI. Those DEI attacks are folded into legislation that's able to make it where Florida can teach children that slavery benefited black people. All this is tied together. This is an intersectional analysis about how the things that we do in pop culture, in society, within social media, within how we talk with each other, how it impacts legislation, and how different individuals that write policy and legislation are able to take different things in society to try to push and say, yeah, we need this policy. All them parents over there, they feel uncomfortable. They don't even give a damn about they kids reading on shit a level that's they in the first grade, they reading on the kindergarten level or some shit. They don't care about that. Hey, they care about, hey man, I'm a Christian, and I think that my children should be taught the Christian way. Never the mind that we have First Amendment, you know what I'm saying, freedom of religion, separation of church and state. We see right here we're getting into the attacks on DEI is working so masterfully. It is damn near justified different ways to push unconstitutional shit like we're gonna make sure we have more Christian doctrines in school. We don't care about the founding fathers. We don't care about no freedom of religion. We don't care about none of them other religions. This is a Christian country, this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, these right here are how we are able to sharpen the knives to make the assault on DEI easier and smoother and more swift. Because hey, man, we don't need that. We don't want no diversity and inclusion. Y'all, when I hear diversity and inclusion, I hear that as an attack on white men. I hear that as an attack on, and it's like, yeah. So what you're saying is, anytime we're able to give an explanation for what's going on, if that explanation makes you feel uncomfortable, you can pass legislation. At the same time, you chastising the same individuals for being sensitive. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just like, I don't just.
You don't say that every day.
Hey, Sigmund Mason, man. Who raised you? Who raised you to waste your time with people that you think is sitting and saying a whole bunch of nothing? Right now, class is in session. I'm teaching about diversity and inclusion, and I'm doing it from an intersectional framework, talking about how different systems of power, how they operate. When you do hate that shit like this, it doesn't do nothing but impact me in a great way because you add weight in the algorithm to this video, right? If you don't comprehend the words I'm putting down, just say that. But insulting me in my own virtual classroom, saying I'm saying a whole bunch of nothing, that's it. It's not a privilege to be in my classroom. It speaks volume of your character, and it speaks volumes of whoever raised you. They ain't did, and they ain't do a good job. See what I'm saying? I'll let you get you. Yeah, that's what you wanted. You wanted attention. That's why I'm saying whoever raised you, they ain't do a good job because you value attention so much that you're willing to be inappropriate, rude, and be on some hating ass shit for the sake of attention. That's bad character. See what I'm saying? Gonna make you one more comment, and then I'll be able to get you up out of here. Education is elevation. Shout out to you for swinging on by, man. Because you know, shit, you could have pulled in anywhere here else, but you decided to pull in here, man. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, man. But this how we have to do. Shout out to you, Justin. Hey, when we old, man, when we grown, this right here, right? As a straight black man, I think it's important that other straight men are able to express to ourselves how we care about each other, how we value each other, and how we love each other, and then not be able to devolve in some homophobic innuendo type shit. You see what I'm saying? I appreciate you for the support and for the engagement. You see what I'm saying? And want to just make sure that us as men be able to create more spaces and climates for us to be able to give each other's props and give each other's, what I'm saying, some shit that's going on without being able to, you feel me, disrespect other individuals. You see what I'm saying? Because I feel like, you know, there are same gender loving men that rock with me, that I love and love me and support. You see what I'm saying? It ain't got to be nothing sexual, intimate in that way at all. But I think that when we say things like, no, and I'm not trying to target you or trying to attack you at all. And you know what I'm saying, recognizing that you weren't trying to be, you weren't even trying to insult me at all. But acknowledging that here on my page, like I'm talking about diversity and inclusion, I try to make sure I create spaces that are open and people, everybody feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So saying like no homo makes somebody feel like, well, I am homo. You saying no me? And it's like, yeah, I know you ain't saying that. It's more of a colloquial, it's a figure of speech, but it's trying to create, you feel me, us having a classroom or us having a space where we all can feel comfortable enough to at least contribute to dialogue. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you know. But shout out to y'all though, man. Diversity and inclusion is currently dying. It can be resuscitated. It can be saved. At least diversity and inclusion as we know it now. It's being pushed and twisted and erased, and it's just like, that's what we got to do, you know? I answered 2 more questions. So what do you think about how system indoctrination of students to put Constitution in the back end? I think that the Constitution and the indoctrination that we have around the Constitution, to me, I don't think whether it's, I think that it's on all parts of it, whether it's the front end, the back end, or while the performance is going on. I think that we've been indoctrinated to rationalize with exploitation, with domination, with oppression, with using the Constitution because we're always able to permute it, you feel me, and fold the Constitution in a way they say, hey, justify stealing this land. It justify doing this discrimination. You see what I'm saying? It justify being able to push this policy and acknowledging that the document in itself is a part of the indoctrination. You see what I'm saying? I think that I would be keeping it real if I didn't acknowledge the Constitution is made possible through genocide of Native Americans and enslavement of Black people. There is no Constitution without those things. There is no Constitution without white men believing in the superiority of themselves and believing that they can write better laws for Turtle Island than all the natives that was already living there. and doing it in a superior way, that believing that no other individuals throughout the colonies had the mental capacity or the political aptitude to be able to even write the Constitution. You see what I'm saying? Every John Hancock, you see what I'm saying, was based off of exclusion. You see what I'm saying? The same individuals that want to attack diversity and inclusion and attack, you feel me, affirmative action, had no issue when affirmative action was literally for white supremacists. You see what I'm saying? The Constitution is a result of white affirmative action that said that the only people that were qualified to even give us government was the land-owning white man. You feel me? So it's like, no matter how we think about the society that we living in, it was always already about diversity and inclusion to me. Always about intersectionality, always about how we view race, class, gender, ability, sexuality in class. And I think that's, you know what I'm saying, that's how it's like come down. You know what I mean? Like, man, shout out. Hey, I'm on today, fam. I'm on today. Shout out to everybody that got speech impediments and stuttering, this, that, and the other. There are times that you're able to scrape someone ass enough that they just be obsessed enough to try to get your attention, right? But this is what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, man. I think that when it comes to emotional intelligence, diversity and inclusion is also wrapped in how we respond to things and what emotions that we see as being legitimate and what emotions we see as being credible. We can acknowledge in the status quo, meaning what's going on right now. Anytime, you feel me, women or people of color start to feel, you know what I'm saying, uncomfortable, or our emotions become mobilized, it's weaponized against us in a way that says that we're too emotional to make a rational decision, or we're too emotional to even do anything. On the flip side, you know what I'm saying, if the white people in power, their emotions become impacted in any way, shape, form, or fashion, all of us are held accountable if we don't acknowledge those emotions, right? And we all can see how the idea of being a snowflake or being sensitive is one that doesn't go twofold. It's not bilateral. You see what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you saying that this is racist is you being a snowflake. Me, however, being called racist makes me feel bad, and that's not me being a snowflake. That's you being bad to me, and you been attacking me. You see what I'm saying? Or think about it from a terms of gender. Anytime women act out in emotion, it's almost confirmation bias that says women are always already emotional. On the flip side, as men, we always justified in different ways to act out, you know what I'm saying, on emotion. May it be egotistical, may it be, you feel me, through fear, may it be through hurt, may it be through pain. The individual sigma is the Sigma Freud, and this individual in the comment section, they have a low level of emotional intelligence. So they do things that's very transactional, and they do things for reactions and responses. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's important to respond to an individual and meet them where they at, but not for them, for a lesson for everybody else that's going on. You feel me? As an individual that got, you know, I say about 7-8 years of experience being in the classroom, I love in the different instances when I had students that wanted to be a class clown, or they want to try to show me up, or they want to try to, you feel me, run the show, because I was always able to use them as teachable moments and able to make and illustrate important lessons by using the person that don't think, you feel me, what they doing is going to go into line with how my railroad tracks was already assigned to go. I was already going to go north before the class started. I was already going north before the live started. Regardless of what you put on the railroad tracks, I'm just going to use it to really illustrate how the train it must still go. You see what I'm saying? Like diversity and inclusion right now, what we're talking about is the best example of how it operates. You feel me? We talk about diversity and inclusion and giving these big ways of how access and opportunity and resource operate. Other individuals want to have an argument about whether white people can be impacted by racism or not. You see what I'm saying? We want to give these political, legislative, community efforts about diversity and inclusion, and individuals want to argue about whether trans women are attacking real women or not. You see what I'm saying? We are talking about, you feel me, you know, almost like this. Remember in 2020, 2021, we was asking for, you know, equity, we was asking for education, we was asking for us to stop being killed. And then they came in and said, we don't call it the master bedroom no more. We're going to call it the main bedroom. Remember that? That's what a lot of people that like try to do. You see what I'm saying? try to steal the center and like recenter the issue that we're getting on to, and hope that you go for the pump fake and flinch enough to make it where you forget what was going on. You see what I'm saying? That is how DEI is attacked. You see what I'm saying? And they tell y'all straight up, hey, listen, man, I'm going to get you worked up so I can try to pass some policy that's going to impact how we teach your Black children how their ancestors related to slavery. If they tell you that way, you might be more eerie to just jumping in and being like, oh, you want to call me sis? You attacking me. See what I'm saying? While you making those arguments, they're literally passing legislation that's attacking the reproductive freedom and reproductive, you feel me, autonomy of anybody with a uterus. You know what I'm saying? Trans man, goddamn cisgender women, anybody, right? But your idea is that, hey man, these rainbow folks, I was down with them. I ain't got no issue with them, but now they trying to attack me. You see what I'm saying? That's the same thing that Buddy Sigmund was trying to do in the comment section. That's the same way that diversity and inclusion gets, I feel like the warriors, the assassins, the generals, the lieutenants, the sergeants that's leading the charge against diversity and inclusion. They masterful in being able to be almost like understanding the art of war. And that's how they're able to really convince so many Black folks specifically of being on some bullshit. Because I'm gonna always think about this for the rest of my life. Anytime I hear anything about a blue pill, a red pill, a Tate, a Samuel, a Kevin, a Andrew, I'm gonna always think this. In 2020 and 2021, the Black community in many different ways was fighting for the material reality of the entire community and how we were being murdered, how we were being educated, how we were given resources. There was a distinct group of Black men that thought it was more important to talk about being a high value man and talk about undesirable, fat, dark-skinned women with 5-6 kids. They thought it was more important to give analysis about being desirable than talking about and getting into the efforts about niggas being murdered in the streets. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna always remember that. I believe that was a part of the targeting of DEI and a part of the targeting of the Black unity and camaraderie that was developed during 2020 and 2021. They said, damn, man, these Black folks, these African Americans, these Negroes, these niggas are starting to come together now. Have we tried telling them that drag queens are trying to attack the Black community? It works. Oh, it works. Oh, yeah. Hey, get the stories ready, man. I need every time a trans or a drag queen walk into a library, I need that shit on Launch My News. Whole time, it's like, hey, listen, if they allow for us to teach diversity and inclusion, or allow for us to teach gender fluidity and allow for us to teach the way that gender constructs actually work, you'll be able to understand the distinction in the Venn diagram. You see what I'm saying? Of drag queens and trans women, because all trans women ain't drag queens and all drag queens ain't trans women. You see what I'm saying? But because you've bought into the targeting of education in itself, you believe that it's never the time to be viable to teach anybody about that because it goes against what you believe in. But we're supposed to have a freedom of religion. So it shows you how, in my opinion, the targeting of diversity and inclusion, it has to involve you divorcing yourself from being a critical thinker. When people buy into these attacks, into like this, man, as a Black man, I can acknowledge that Black masculinity is always already been attacked by white supremacy. I'm gonna repeat that. As a Black man, I can acknowledge that we are always already being attacked by what? White supremacy. Y'all will try to figure out a way to misname other things as being white supremacy while you literally cozying up and literally repeating the rhetoric of being an alpha male or some blue pill, red pill type shit that come from actual white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? Especially when you do it in a way where it's like, yeah, feminism is bad for Black women because they trying to be like white women. Whole time it's reflecting that you ain't picked up a book. Black feminists got way better critiques and criticisms of mainstream white feminism than any red pill, blue pill dude you can see on YouTube. But y'all don't know that because you don't pick the book up. But you be projecting because it'd be like, hey man, all this doctrine shit you pushing, if we do a genealogy or we do some research, we see the origin of it come from white supremacists. So you trying to chastise this sister for picking up a book about black feminism because you saying she trying to act like a white woman when in actuality you trying to be a white man. And it's just like that's what happened. And I think that's how a lot of times diversity and inclusion like little shots it get hit the target because people literally help the bullet hit the target. You see what I'm saying? Like, hey man, we just black people, Black Lives Matter. I'm for all black people, but that black trans motherfucker over there trying to do something to me. It's like that bit of stuff people be talking about. And to me, it don't make sense. You see what I'm saying? It literally don't make sense. And to me, in 2023, I acknowledge within this idea about diversity and inclusion, you feel me? And intersectionality, somebody had convinced men, especially black men, that it's more important to make sure you're not being seen as a simp or a panderer than being seen as an abuser or an oppressor. Like that's what came to mind. That's what I recognize. You see what I'm saying? More niggas that's more concerned with being a simps than they is with being an abuser. You see what I'm saying? More concerned with being, you feel me, seen as a panderer to other dudes than how they are seen as being comfortable towards other women. And I think that right there reflect your character, it reflect your humanity. And it's like, damn, man, you ain't doing it, man. You ain't doing it. And that's how I know the targets is working. Like Jeremy said, divide and conquer, man. The divide and conquer right now is working so masterfully that you even literally had black people fighting with Palestinians and fighting with, you know what I'm saying, Jews. Like you got black women fighting with black trans women. Meanwhile, it's motherfuckers getting hit with bricks and shit. It's like to me, it's like the idea of something always being a distraction. It's like, man, yeah, let's talk about it then. But most of the time, people would be so in homosocial. I like. Can you if you can unpackage that one right there a little bit, I can. You know what I'm saying? I can do something with that, man. I think you're ready to go to lunch though. Education is elevation. theconsciously.com. That's where you can find me at. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe this video. I'll be doing much more streams here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Education is elevation. Research over me search. I can't believe that people still be on sucker shit in 2024. Like, it's certain shit I hope you grow out of, but you know. Spontaneous percussion.